Welcome back to my channel, Crafting with Nordy. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make some simple dividers using the Fiskars Box Makers gift board. So it does make gift boxes, envelopes, and bows, but today we're going to use it a little bit differently to make these dividers. So you're going to need one of those, a pencil, a ruler, scissors, and if you have one, a cutting board. Okay? You're also going to need 6 sheets of cardstock of your choice. What I'm using here is just the Parkling Glitter Brights. I can't remember if that's Joann's or is that Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I can't remember. I'll figure it out. I'll leave the description below. But you're going to need 6 sheets of the cardstock of your choice. And then an extra sheet of cardstock, preferably a white one, something you can write on that you're going to be able to see your measurements. And so this is going to be our template. So you want to cut this one out to 8 1/4 by 6 3/16. And then on the 8 1/4 inch side, you're going to measure in 2 inches and make your mark. And make that mark kind of long, okay? And then from that mark, you're going to go 1 1/4 inches 4 more times, okay? So to start, after you get this cut down, you're going to grab your cardstock, have it in the order you already want it to be in, and we're going to start cutting our cardstock. So all paper has a grain direction, and if you've seen any of my videos about grain direction and whatnot, you know what I'm talking about. So when the grain is going up and down, it will bend easier. It's more flexible, okay? But if you turn it and you test the grain again, it doesn't bend. It's more stiff because now you're going against the grain, okay? And so when we cut this, we don't want to cut it where it's, really flexible. So we don't want to cut with the grain because then that's going to make our dividers a lot more bendy, and we don't want them to be as flexible as the pages that we're trying to separate. And so we're going to turn that to where it's, it's stiffer. So now we're going to cross the grain. And our first cut is going to be 6 3/16. Okay. So remember the grain direction where it's stiffer. Not this way. That's with the grain. Turn it to where it's stiffer. Okay, and that's where we want to make our first cut at 6 3/16. Okay, then you're going to turn it sideways and you're going to make another cut the same as we did with our template at 8 1/4. Now an A5 size is a tad over an 8 1/4. It's not that big of a difference. But we're just going to go with 8 1/4 here. And again, test your grain direction on your stock before you cut. We want that stiffness like that. So 6 3/16. Eight 1/4. So again, we're cutting across the grain because we want our dividers to not be as flexible as our paper. Because otherwise they'll kind of start to curl or bend, and then the divider doesn't look so good. And so I prefer it this way, but if it doesn't bother you, do it either way. It's just my little tip of the day. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now we have our dividers, and I think I want mine to go this way, kind of start from that light to dark, but you arrange it however you like. I wanted to just use more of a solid color so you can actually see the differences in the tabs, because using patterned cardstock and trying to show this on video, it doesn't come out as clear. It's hard to see those distinct, differences that we're going to be talking about in this video. Okay, so we got our cardstock ready. We got to get our template. Okay, so we're going to take our template and we're going to grab our Fiskars tool. Now, what I did with my Fiskars tool is to get a hole punch, you're going to get this shape punched out. But I only want half of that. So I made a mark halfway through that cut. I put the mark here. I put the mark out here because I wanted to be able to see it. Okay. And I want to be able to, the camera to be able to pick up what I'm doing, these measurements. So I'm using this template to make it easier for the viewers, for all of you that are watching and may want to make this, and also to be able to pick it up on the camera a little bit better. Okay, so what we're going to start with, we have our measurements now. We're going to take our first divider and we're going to put that template in front. Okay, and so for the first one, actually, let's just do all. We're going to take all the dividers and we're going to do this left corner first. Okay, but we're going to come in from the side like this, and we're going to go to that halfway mark that we made. Okay, we're going to punch that. And we're just going to do that to all of them to get started. Punching more than one on this one is too hard. It doesn't really work. Okay, let's put these back in order that we want them in. Okay, so now we're going to take our template and we're going to place it on top of the first divider evenly. Okay, now we're going to line that mark that we made because we wanted to line up with the center. We're going to line that up. Yes, I see I have 2 inches. It's 2 inches. I can use both guides, but as we get a little bit more into more dividers, we got to start doing the math. And I just wanted to make this easier for everybody else so we can kind of cut that out, and it just makes it a little bit easier because it's easier to see these lines we made rather than look at each one of these, right? And then go, did I line up right? Just, this is so much easier. Okay, so our first punch, I'm going to remove my template. I'm already lined up. I'm going to make my punch, and then I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to get my second one. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to line up to my second line in that center there. And then I'm going to remove my template. And this just helps me to not have to worry about the math and the measurement for each one every time. I'm just like, okay, I'm just lining up against each one of this line, and it's just making it go faster for me. It's already pre-done for me. I don't really have to use a lot of brain work. Okay, number 4. Make sure these are lined up. Oh, I gotta move this. Same thing for number 5. Line it up with that center mark we made. And then the very last one, it just gets punched on the ends. Okay. All right, now we're gonna put these back in order. And what we're gonna do is cut off the excess, okay? Set that aside. We'll get our cutting board out. Okay, so we are gonna line up on the left side. This is like a little canal, a little channel here. So we're gonna take this point right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna get something behind it. This little point right here is gonna line up on the left side of that, right up against it, okay? As close as you can get it. Because what we want right here is just to barely be able to see the canal in there. Because when we go to cut, we want our blade to be able to cut all this off, and you'll feel it release right here. And so you'll know where to stop. So you're just gonna kind of go a little bit slow, not too fast. So you only want a little of the bit of the canal showing, because we want this cut to come down and then go smooth. If you don't get it smooth the first time, it's okay, because we're just gonna trim it up if we need to with scissors anyways. Okay, so that came right off. Pretty simple. And we're just gonna do that to all of them. Get as close as you can. Make sure you can see that little canal. Okay. And try not to go too far and cut into your tab like I did there. You can use an X-Acto knife for this too, however you want to cut this. Oh, we don't cut the last one, sorry. Okay, so now that we have them, and if you might need to clean up a little bit. I notice with these cutting boards, at least mine, when I'm cutting slow, they get frayed a little bit. So you might need to clean it up a little bit. And so that's what we need the scissors for. Just to kind of, any cleanup we might need to do on our edges. And I'm not very good with the scissors. I'm always really shaky, so if I just got to do a little trim, it's okay. But if I have to cut into something and try to go all straight, I can't do it. Okay, and there you go. All right, so what you can do now is hole punch these. So I've got my hole punch here set to A5. I'm going to cut 2 at a time because these glitter dividers are a lot thicker. And then I'll show you guys how they look. All right, I'll show you all how they look in the planner. They're gonna look like this. We've already got it set in here. And they are wide enough to cover A5 paper. So this is an A5 binder, this is an A5 paper in here. And they are wide enough to cover the A5 paper. They do have maybe about a 1/16 of an inch more than the width of the paper. And that's just for me to ensure that the cards are actually going to cover the paper. Some people are a little bit picky about that. They want it even or they want a little extra. That's up to you. It's whatever space your planner allows. But preferably I start with the width of the planner paper. So I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about how we did the measurements and how do you figure the sizes of your, you know, your dividers and whatnot. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I'll leave everything that I used in the description below. And this little planner binder, I got this off of Amazon, and it's from Jumping Fox Design. And so it's hard, and it's got fabric on it, and it's got the little strap and everything, and I like it a lot. I think it looks really nice. I like the inside. You know, if you got lotion on your hands or things like that, it does kind of transfer, as you can see. But other than that, it's a pretty good little binder, and you know, I like it a lot. So that's what it looks like in the binder. I hope you guys go out and make some of these because they're really cute. As you can see, they were really easy to make. A lot more work always goes into the planning. And so I wanted to make it as simple for you guys as I could. So I started with the template so we could just move along and just get through it. And you can just do the enjoying part of it, the fun part of it. And then now you can just personalize these, do whatever you want with them. You can laminate them, do whatever you want to do with them, and, you know, just personalize them. But I wanted to kind of just give you the template if you want to start with this size, but I wanted you to also know how we kind of did it. And, you know, in theory, like I said, it should work for other sizes, but those are the steps that we took and how we figured out to get the sizing and the spacing that we did. So that's it for this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.